You are the fan that all these artists are complaining about. You get no, honestly, they're all dying to change as often as possible. And Démar's here like, anytime you wear a different shoelace, I get nervous.
All right, welcome back, people. This is Soundbites, the part of the Album Mode podcast when we're talking about the news, the culture, music, news, and culture. We're back. This is Démar Grant, a.k.a. King Grant, and we're here with Adriel Smiley, a.k.a. AdrielSmiley.com, a.k.a. The Godfather, a.k.a. The Adriel Smiley. And we're here with our producer also, Patient Zero, Chris. And we're here dealing with Doja Cat, I would say. That's where I am now with her. We're just dealing with Doja Cat. Doja Cat is on the timeline, just, I want to say acting the fool. She just spouting off just tweets about what was her latest one that really started to rankle people?
May 11th,
Yep.
Doja Cat tweeted, "My stage name is no longer Doja Cat, it's MC Flapchunks III, and you'll address me as such."
That one, I think you sent that to me, and I was like, that moment, personally, is when I clocked out. I am now clocking out of the Doja Cat experience.
You signed out?
Where she is now in the Kanye zone for me. The pre-Nazi Kanye zone. I don't even know where the current Kanye is for me, but it's now where I'm like, just let me know when the music is coming out. Like, I don't need all of this, like, I'm renaming myself or, my new stage name or this tweet that she sent out is really got people like talking about it, upset. It's like, Planet Her and Hot Pink were cash grabs.
You saw that one.
And y'all fell for it. Now I can disappear at somewhere and touch grass with my loved ones on an island while y'all weep for mediocre pop. I just think that when artists trash their previous art as if it's like nothing, it's just like, why? Like, first of all, you have millions of people that were like, this was awesome. And now you're like, you guys were rubes. Idiots to support my music. It was just generic garbage that I was churning out.
I don't hate it, man. I don't hate that.
Really?
Yeah, because it's like, it's funny because we at certain times for certain artists try and stand behind the artistic value of something. Well, sometimes it is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's like Doja Cat, at least for her to have that knowledge in herself of like, this is what this is, because maybe it's better than the other pop garbage because it's Doja Cat.
Right.
But it could still be pop garbage. But it's like, that should be said. I think, because to me, it's a rare time in music when the biggest songs can actually be some of the best songs.
Right.
That doesn't always happen. You think about some of the biggest artists that we like.
Yeah.
Their biggest songs are not our favorite songs from them.
True.
So for her to have that wherewithal, I think the way she delivered it definitely probably hurt some feelings, calling it cash grabs.
Yeah.
That hurt some feelings, but I don't hate it because I do think that artists do stuff like that. And I think I understand them feeling that way because they're the ones making the studio and being like, I just made these 3 songs that are fire that can't make the album because they're not poppy enough. And this song where I just freestyled it, y'all are talking about this is the best thing artistically when I know it's not even my best artistically. So it's like, I think about how she feels when y'all are showing love to her cash grabs. Yeah. And she's like, that's not it. Like, so she probably feels like the world as a whole is dumber than she thought before. No, realistically. Because you think people can tell when it's one of those, but sometimes we can't tell. And we, are here like, this is the greatest rap we've ever heard. We love this. And the person who rapped it is like, I wrote that in my phone in the Uber. Like,
wow. Well, I think that's, even though it seems like it could have been just very simple or just I did this in my phone in the Uber, sometimes, people do their best music or best art in a constrained circumstance like that. Like, I just think that Hot Pink and Planet Her, those were good. Like, those are good. Yeah, in Doja Cat's case,
it's good. I'm not saying this for Doja Cat.
Yeah.
Other artists, I don't mind artists saying this in general.
Yeah.
But Doja Cat's music is actually good.
Yeah, like Planet Her and Hot Pink were actually good. The connection between hip hop, R&B, pop music that she was making was great. And that's why I just find it like it's almost like or kind of disingenuous, but it's also like disrespectful to your own self, like your past self. Like you're just thinking like, yeah, past me, trash.
Yeah.
You know, complete garbo. But current me is the best thing ever. And you know, fuck all the previous music, everything that I previously did. Like screw all that. You're all idiots, rubes, for thinking that it was dope. But keep paying attention to what I'm doing because now it's gonna be sick. Like
I don't have a problem with that, honestly. And it's like this. Someone who Doja Cat's been compared to a lot, Nicki Minaj.
Yeah.
Having a lot of Nicki discussions on the cool table. And Nicki, you think Nicki is gonna say that super bass is the epitome of what her music can be of quality? I would say not. Starships, probably not. But Planet Her was Doja's Starships or Doja's super bass. And I think I brought this up before we started. I've known about Doja Cat since before she did that Moo record.
Right.
And I thought she was talented, but I wasn't a huge fan. But I was like, you know, I kind of wonder, is she going to make it? You know, is she going to blow up? And a lot of people only became hip to her once that Moo record came out, but only know her as the hit maker. They don't know any other Doja Cat. And so I think that's the difference when the other artists have more of a come up where someone like Nicki, you hear songs like Monster or her mixtapes, her freestyles, where you have that to compare to Starships, you know? Yeah. But if Starships had been her whole first album, a whole different ballgame. And I think that's where Doja is, where I would say a majority of Doja's fans now, because she has a huge, huge fan base, probably only know her as a hit maker. They don't know the Doja that...
Not listen to Purr, not listen to Amala.
Shout out to Purr. Forgot about that song. Yeah, like, no, you know, it's true. Like, a lot of her fans probably don't know the other Doja. And so I think that, in a sense, what are they comparing this to in terms of casual raps? Doja's comparing herself to herself and be like, yeah, this is great music over here. So I actually don't hate it. I don't think that her albums were bad.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they were the best music she's ever made.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that that's where we have this line where, again, it depends when people come into an artist. We talked about Jack Harlow last week. A lot of people, their first time hearing Jack Harlow was What's Poppin'.
Yep.
So when you come in on What's Poppin', you know, you probably hear this new album in a whole different way than someone who knew him, you know, 3 albums before that.
Right.
So Doja Cat is one of the biggest examples of a lot of Doja's fans weren't listening to Doja at all before she had all these hits. So I kind of understand where she's coming from. And I think that I would love more artists to actually speak on their past music. I don't think they have to trash it. You know, Wiz Khalifa famously dissed Rolling Papers in a letter after it came out and then kind of walked that back and was like, you know what? I still perform those songs to this day. Yeah. Those are a lot of big songs. But I think we can be real and be like, this is not their best music. Because someone's biggest music isn't always their best music. God's Plan is not Drake's best song.
Yeah.
You know, so.
That's true.
I think that we have to be real about it. Doja did it in her Doja way, but I think we can be real about it.
Are you looking forward to the next album? Because she's dropping new music. This is obviously, even though we're talking about her statements and shit like that, new music is coming.
She said it's going to be a rap album. Did you hear that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for Doja's new album. I am. I think Doja's very talented. I'm excited for the new project. And I'm excited just because I think Doja's had an interesting relationship with the public in terms of people's opinions and what people say about her and how she feels about it. So I'm interested to see where she is with that relationship. These tweets, you can read into what that means for that relationship.
Very abrasive.
But, you know, a lot of artists don't always deal with the fame. Well, I'm not saying she's one of them, but everyone deals with the fame differently. And it sometimes affects the music. So I would love to see how that affects music. Because right now, as much as she has all these hits, her fame and her music are like very close. Yeah. Very, very close. Will that still be the same on the next project?
Right.
Will the next project have music that will be as popular as the last music or be as popular as she is as an entity? Or will this new project be the start of Doja Cat, the name is up here, and the music is a little bit lower? So I'm just very interested to see how that goes.
Okay, me too. I think I'm looking forward to it too, just because, you know, this is another evolution of her artistry. I think that her as like a person seems like she's going through like some sort of metamorphosis.
100%.
She just shaved off literally all of her hair.
Yeah.
And she's growing it back, but it's still like basically a low fade.
Yeah,
At
100%.
this point in time, she's like all these new tattoos, a massive back tattoo that she recently got. Tattoos on her arms now too. So she's just like, if you looked at her now and then if you looked at her when Hot Pink came out, you would be like, this is the same person?
Yeah, two different people basically.
So that's why I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by everything that's happening. I just wish that she just loved her previous music like I did.
You're part of the problem.
I applied her on vinyl, okay? Don't do that. Don't do me like that.
Yeah, I'm so interested to see it because I just think this is a new way of looking at music and artists. So interested to see how that goes.
Right.
We had probably one of the biggest class lawsuits in music history.
Yeah. Ed Sheeran versus Marvin Gaye, baby.
Yeah, last week. I do want to clear that up because it wasn't actually Marvin Gaye's estate.
Yeah, the estate.
That was suing him. It was Ed Townsend, who's one of the co-writers on the song.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of people who were saying if it was actually Marvin Gaye and his estate, maybe Ed would have lost if that was the case.
Mm-hmm.
But this was not actually Marvin Gaye's estate. It was Ed, who's a co-writer on Let's Get It On. And I saw a couple of videos of Ed explaining how he won the case.
Yeah.
And this is going to be huge for any class lawsuits going forward. Basically, his argument was you can't own a chord progression.
Yeah.
And the chord progression that is in Let's Get It On also can fit 10 other hit songs, including his. And they cited a bunch of songs before Let's Get It On, which came out in 1973, that included that same chord progression.
Right.
And so it's like, Let's Get It On can't own it if this chord progression existed in huge songs before them. So a huge, huge win because I don't know if anyone's seen this video and people find it to put it in here.
Yeah.
That video of Ed Sheeran himself playing them back to back, the mashup is insane. It's literally seamless.
Yeah.
He goes from playing Thinking Out Loud, Let's Get It On, and it's seamless. So it's like I could understand how how Ed would want his royalties.
Yeah.
But that distinction of not owning a chord progression is absolutely huge.
Yeah, because first of all, he was threatening to quit music.
Yeah,
I think that was
wild.
That's a big deal because Ed Sheeran, even though I would say not critically acclaimed, extremely commercially successful.
Yeah,
right. And so I think if Ed Sheeran quit music, that would have been like massive, massive, massive deal. But that's how important it was, bro. Because there was like, I've also seen like an interview with him where he's like, we had like literally like 100 songs that had the same chord progression in it.
Yeah.
So it's like, how can one person or one song like have ownership of a chord progression where there's things before it that had it, songs that are afterwards that had it that nobody sued them. It's only because Ed Sheeran is Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
And he's as popular as he is, as famous as he is, as rich as he is. Honestly, that they're thinking that they can that they could sue him over it. But luckily he won, and also if he lost, it would be huge. It would be so detrimental to music because you're like, anytime you ever play something on guitar, you have to credit somebody famous that came before you. Like then it wouldn't make any sense. Like so many. You could be in your room in a dark room alone and just like come up with an idea for a chord progression. And then somebody from like 30 years ago would be like, hey, you copied my thing. I'm like, I don't know who you are, bro. Like, what are you talking about?
Then I'm so happy he won for that reason because anyone who does play instruments, whether it's keys or guitar, these chord progressions have been around since basically the inception of the instrument.
Yeah.
So it's like
there's so many fingers on your hand. There's only so many strings on a guitar. Like, eventually people are going to revert back to the same things.
Yeah, so I thought it was crazy that was even happening in the first place because my thought on this, and anyone can attest to this, when that song came out, no one was being like, that sounds like Let's Get It On. We didn't do that. That song was huge, over 2 billion streams. It played everywhere. Every cruise, every casino, every wedding, and we heard it all the time.
Yeah.
And do you remember people saying no? That was not what was happening. So that is part of my issue here. Is like, yes, when you hear them together, it is uncannily seamless.
Yeah.
But for the 2.5 years that song was the biggest song in the world, not one time did I hear anyone be like, that song sounds a lot like Let's Get It On. Like, no. And Let's Get It On is not a small song in itself.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm so happy that he won. And I think this is the interesting part about this case because a lot of people do think this is Marvin Gaye's estate that sued him. And Marvin Gaye's estate is, infamous for being very litigious when it comes to samples.
Notoriously litigious.
Yeah, everyone knows about the Marvin Gaye's estate. So it's funny that I think that that's part of why this got so much press because everyone assumed it was Marvin Gaye's estate, and everyone knows that they don't fucking play. So I think that was part of like the fear of like, fuck, Ed's going down, like they ain't losing. But I wonder how this will affect a lot of artists going forward from the past suing other artists. Because I do think about the case I always think about is Wiz Khalifa with the Thrill, Empire of the Sun. That was on one of his early mixtapes, Burn After Rolling. And that was one of his biggest songs, up until he got signed and until Black and Yellow, that was probably one of his biggest songs. And he was touring and kind of making money off that song. Not from streaming, but from touring. And that was a big problem they had. Now, the mixtape game is not the same. People are literally uploading these songs with samples in it, cleared or not cleared. And I think it's what do we classify as like making money off of it? What really constitute that we can be, okay, got to take this. So I'm very interested to see how this goes because the other thing too is a lot of these older groups, older bands, older acts ask for huge percentages. And so will that be the way around this now? We've heard of so many of these stories where, Diddy, sampling Sting. Diddy still pay Sting to this day. I think it's $10,000 a day, something like that.
That's crazy.
And it's
Didn't Juice WRLD also get hit by Sting too?
Yeah.
Sting.
Oh, sorry, it makes $5,000 a day.
Yeah, Sting also extremely influential, allegedly.
No, Sting's that guy.
People are jacking Sting's stuff. Like,
and it's like stuff like that where it's like maybe the artist will now ask for such an exorbitant amount of points on the song that they'll be like, okay, I'm not gonna. And that will be the way around it now, right. Instead of being like, not sue you after the fact, but you're putting this song out, I want 85% of it.
Yeah, that's insane. It's a big deal. Even there's so many songs like even like the Taylor Swift song like "Look What You Made Me Do," and then Canada had to like I'm too sexy. I think was like a song that she was like
sampling, or interpolating.
Yeah, so there's a lot of songs that are like that. It's not that serious. I know it is serious, but it's not that serious, guys. I promise you, it's not that crazy. Like,
yeah, listen.
Like, if it's straight up plagiarized, like, for example, the Juice WRLD thing was like, they literally just like, they sampled it and just didn't credit him.
Yes.
I got you.
Yes.
But if you're like, oh, the chord progression, like, this is, if you hear this part between, 0:35 and 0:37.
We can't do that. We can't
like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I want every artist to get paid for their work, what they do and stuff like that. I don't, we're not condoning plagiarism or people stealing from people and shit like that. But if it's like, we're talking about 2 parts, 2 seconds in a song, 3 seconds in a song, or like a chord progression that's existed before your song, after your song, millions of songs, like, stop being ridiculous. Stop being ridiculous. Also, speaking of ridiculousness, okay, The Weeknd.
Your boy.
I'm wearing, look at the shirt, okay?
OG.
Trilogy. This is the 10-year anniversary Trilogy shirt that I have. I'm also wearing an After Hours shirt underneath, but you can't really see.
Dedicated.
The Weeknd said in an interview recently that this album that is coming out might be his last album as The Weeknd. And reverberations throughout the industry. Throughout the fandom. Throughout the interwebs. I'm scared. Okay?
Why?
I'm scared. Well, I'm scared because usually when an artist drops their moniker or changes it, there is like a drastic change in the type of music that they make or a drastic change in like the lyrical content.
I thought you'd be excited for that. You've already seen him change a couple times and you've liked them. More than most of his fans. So I thought you'd be excited for the change.
I'm just worried. I'm worried. Am I the only person that's worried?
I get why you're worried as a Weeknd fan. You're just attached to that. But
any change that has happened when he went from the dreads, like to the freeforms, to the pineapple, to then it was like kind of like curly in that weird way, and then when he cut it off, I'm gonna tell you again. I was nervous.
Oh, so you're nervous every time, even though it always works out. You're still always nervous.
Nervous because when he cut it off, I'm like, I don't know, man. Because then when he cut it off, also the music wasn't as good. I'm gonna keep it 1,000 with you. It was not as good.
You were in love with Starboy?
No, I think that's one of his worst projects.
Interesting.
So when he cut it, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And then, after hours, Don FM, but you notice that it's been growing. This is big ass. He's got this big ass afro now. He's braiding it and shit. So that's why I'm just like, whenever there's a drastic change, I start to become worried. So that's why I'm kind of worried with Doja Cat a little bit on this rap album coming up. I'm not joking.
You are the fan that all these artists are complaining about.
You get
No, honestly, they're all dying to change as often as possible. And Démar's here like, anytime you wear a different shoelace, I get nervous. You are the artist. You are the fan that they're all complaining about.
Oh my God.
No, I'm excited because one, they did mention that in the article that he wants to get into production and film. So I'm excited to see the Weeknd go into that space. I think one, he has the capital to do a lot of things on his own. If he doesn't get the backing, and two, I think he will get the backing because of the success he's had as a recording artist.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see him in this next phase of his career. In terms of the name change, I'm interested to see how that goes. I'm not as nervous for you because I'm assuming he's gonna like pseudo retire and maybe just go by his government name.
Yeah.
And that will be like, if he does a feature once in a while, like how Jay-Z does, it'll be like, this is Abel, on the song, which I think people will like. I think that will work. But I'm interested for this next phase of the Weeknd because the Weeknd has been very private as he's grown, which doesn't always happen. As he's become more and more famous, he's become more and more private. We just talked about Doja Cat a few minutes ago. I would say largely the opposite. She was very in touch with her fans before she blew up. Yeah. But as she's blown up, still.
Yeah, she's still beefing with people on Twitter.
So
to this day.
To this day. So I'm interested to see if we get to hear more about the Weeknd and maybe him putting that part of his career in the past. I'm open to talk about it because there's so much about this era we don't know. He hasn't spoke about it. He's not doing interviews. He's not telling us the behind the scenes. And I think he's been so successful, there's a lot that I would love to hear about this part of his career. So I'm actually excited for it. I'm actually excited for it. I don't. Here's my thing is I don't know that it's gonna go well because this is a huge change. It could literally be anything. We have no idea. But the Weeknd has changed enough times that I trust him to make the change. And listen, he's a West Hill boy like myself. Scarborough boys stand up. We gotta stick together. So just out of the loyalty for the 416, I'm standing with you, Abel.
Yeah, I think ultimately things will work out.
Are you sure?
I think things will work out just because it always has.
Yeah, there you go.
So, but everybody has their flubs. There's mistakes. Also, what are we going to change the name to? Is it just Abel? The weekday?
That's the real question.
So I think I am nervous. Honest, I'm gonna be honest with you. As a Weeknd, I love the Weeknd. The Weeknd's my favorite artist ever. Right? So drastic change, nervous, but I'm open to it. I'm open to it. It probably will work out in some way. If you're doing more TV, which it seems like he's really interested in doing TV,
very much.
Visual stuff,
very
right?
Much, yeah.
He's even for his music videos, it always seems to be like a big deal for his music videos, what he's doing. So it makes sense in that way. But yeah, so that's how I feel. I wanted to bring it up because literally every person that knows me sent me a message, sent me a clip, sent me a screenshot, DM, whatever. They're like, have you seen this?
Had to. You were the first person I thought of. I was like, Démar needs to know. I was like, I don't want Démar to get heartbroken and find out the wrong way. I need him to be prepared. Oh, so I'm aware, okay? Everybody, I'm aware. And I'm a little bit nervous, but it's okay. We'll endure. We'll endure. Speaking about enduring, Timbaland. Yeah, that was a rough
So
one.
we've been, I think we should just rename sound bites to like AI, like the AI beat or something like that.
We are on the AIB.
Because we're just following I think it's actually,
we're leading. We're leading.
I think it's extremely important to be following this,
Mm-hmm.
the way AI is interacting with music, because AI is the hottest version of technology right now,
Yeah.
right? And it's affecting literally every industry that exists.
Mm-hmm.
So the way it affects music is extremely important, I think, because we're at a point where if you see a Mid-Journey is like where they do, it's like a photo
Mm-hmm.
AI. It's getting super realistic, and we've already had an instance in music
Yeah.
where the Drake and the Weeknd, I forgot the name of the song, but by Ghostwriter,
Yeah.
quote unquote by Ghostwriter, was like a big deal. I think that following AI is extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
So Timbaland did literally the exact thing we said would happen
Yeah.
when we were talking about that MF Doom example, where an artist is dead,
Yeah.
the producer puts together a beat, and they're like, I always wanted to work with this person. And then they basically resurrect that artist digitally to be on top of their track.
It's crazy we didn't name Biggie in our when we talk about artists that it would
Mhm.
happen for, but you know Timbaland did this with Biggie.
Yeah.
That was someone we should have probably named right away. That seemed like an obvious choice,
him or Tupac, I guess.
for sure. And I saw a lot of people having a huge problem with this.
Yeah.
A lot of people did not like this,
Yeah.
and it's interesting because this is probably the scenario where if if this was 15 years ago, we didn't know what AI was, and you said, if you could do something, with AI, with technology, what would you do?
Mhm.
I think this is something people would have said, like Timbaland, who was a hot producer 15 years ago,
Yeah.
and Biggie, who's people see one of the greatest MCs of all time.
Yep.
That's what you would want to happen. They were alive at the same time. They ended up working together,
Mhm.
but that seemed like something people would love. So I was very surprised to see how much people hated it. But I think this is the start of people doing this, because Timbaland claimed it didn't need this cleared. He
Yeah.
just played it online.
Yeah, he just played it on Twitter. Or it was on Instagram.
Yeah, he's played it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Didn't get took down or anything, and everyone was able to see it.
Mhm.
So it's like, I think it's already begun. Hit Boy has played some AI stuff he's done as well.
Yeah.
But I think this is the start of it, where you can make the AI song without having it cleared. Maybe to put it out, different story labels I think are going to be on top of that.
Mhm.
But this is the beginning of, like, I didn't need to hit up Diddy to say, can I use this Biggie voice?
Right.
I just made it, and now everyone can hear it. And I think that is going to be the new template. It's almost like, I hate when artists do this, where they do the whole post, a clip of something to see how everyone likes it, and then if everyone likes it, they put that song out. This is going to be the new version of that.
Right.
Of like, everyone loves the song, man. You got to clear it. Like, the internet wants it. I think
Yeah.
that's where this is headed.
Yeah, I think it's possible. I do think that the general public's reaction was largely negative.
Yeah.
Largely
Mostly
negative.
for sure.
And I think that, bro, he's dead. Like, just let them be dead. Like, I understand from like a creative perspective.
Mhm.
Like, you would love to make music with a certain artist,
Mhm.
but they passed. I would love to hear Tupac's music today, what that would sound like. That would
Yeah.
be amazing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's no longer alive. But, you gotta accept that person is dead. Like,
said accept it.
Yeah, no, seriously though.
No, honestly, yeah.
That's literally what it
yeah.
is. You need to accept that the person has passed, right? Biggie Smalls, he's a bunch of music, tons of music,
Mhm.
right? So it's not like he was a flash in the pan. It was like, oh man, look at all this potential, and then he was dead. It's like there was real music that came out. He was celebrated, recognized, all that stuff. So it wasn't like he
got his flowers.
Yeah, he got his flowers, and then when he died, he got his flowers again, right? So it's not like his legacy is missing. He's still important to the genre,
Yes.
important to the history of the genre,
Yes.
all this stuff. So this idea of like having to, or feeling that is like, I always wanted to make music with them, so here's like the AI. I basically dug up a person's grave and like Weekends Weekend with Bernie, their animated voice basically, it's just weird to me, bro.
Yeah,
like that is like
I don't rock
weird in
with
a
it.
bad way.
Yeah, I think what I'm really, I don't say scared of, what I'm really worried about is this being overused and being part of like a way to get attention.
Yeah.
You know, I think AI is very new right now. Basically anything that happens with AI, we're on top of it. But I think like for many people, it's probably the last time they heard of Timbaland, you know, was this AI thing. Timbaland's been doing stuff. You know, I'm aware of Timbaland, but this is also a way to get attention from doing, you know, these AI songs.
Yeah.
My thing is more like this should stay in the studio. I understand the want for that because, you know, there's so many artists who have all these stories of, I met with Pac, but we never got in the studio. And next time we were supposed to get in, he passed. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of artists have these stories, have these anecdotes of people they couldn't get in the studio with before they passed, or artists who have passed and it never happened. If you want to fulfill that for yourself, I have no problem with that. I think it's the public part of it, which is my issue. Like, you know, if you're behind the scenes in your own studio and you want to play that for people in the studio that you just put, you know, whoever's voice on whoever's beat, I have no problem with that because that's something that you couldn't do otherwise. The technology now permits that.
Yeah.
But I think because I don't think Timbaland's gonna put this song out.
Yeah.
I would.
I don't think so either.
You know, I would get. So it's like, what are we doing this for? You're not gonna release this song. It's like, I understand this is a moment for you, but did you have to share that with us? And it's crazy because Timbaland is way too old to be doing this. But that's the internet now. It's like, if it's not on the internet, then it didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't exist.
You know, it's like, it happened. It happened. It didn't happen just because we posted it. It happened already.
Yeah, and I think it's just like, I think it's just bad for music overall because like, if we're at the point where we're just using the AI voice of each artist that existed, then why do they continue to make music? Why would a label ever pay an artist to ever make music again? You know, like, your voice already exists. You're not the person with the computer, the producer is. No. I just pay the producer.
That's a good point. I never thought about that, but that may be the future and the present of, let's do Doja Cat, for example. You're signed to us. That's cool. You want to rap? We need more pop hits. We're going to AI some pop hits. You know, do your thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, I think that's not going to go well because artists will obviously speak out and they'll say, that's not me. I didn't, you know, co-sign that. But I do think there is a world where labels, you know, like someone like how Tiana Taylor was upset with Kanye. Someone could be in a deep label deal, can't get out, and the label's just like, we put music out. Like, so I think there's so many scary things about AI, but through this whole AI beat we've been on as the Album Mode podcast, we haven't seen any solutions gone into practice. I think we have our own solutions in a sense that we've talked about in terms of how much artists ask for in a split or labels having control over AI, but we haven't seen those in action. You know, what are the ramifications of what Timbaland just did? You know, we see the internet be upset. We've seen civilians be upset, Twitter civilians. But what are the actual ramifications of that? I haven't seen any legal action, any labels being upset with him. So that's what I'm looking for next is we're seeing, we saw Ghost Rider's song got taken down. Yeah. We saw the internet got beef with Timbaland for 3 days. But what are going to be the ramifications of this going forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're still in the early stages. Something that, again, this is our beat.
Yeah.
This is our beat now, I think.
100%.
AI music. Maybe if we can track somebody down, that would be sick. Actually, now I'm thinking about
who uses AI
or something like that. Yeah, like we'll see if we can finesse something like that.
Between the two of us, we definitely can.
I just think it's dangerous, bro, because art is like, you know, I think we're at a point, especially with AI, where this is an attack on art right now. Like when we're talking about AI, like a robot making art, quote unquote art, and then we're talking about like Mid-Journey, like generating those pictures that look almost real until you start to look at their hands, and then you see people have like 15
mangled
fingers.
hands. Yeah, that is crazy. Eh?
Yeah, so there seems to be. I think we're at this like point where people who make technology is like, what if like I could get like, for whatever reason, I don't fully know the reasons, like what if I could just get a computer to make the art instead of people? right? And I just don't really fully understand that rationality. Is like, okay, so do you just not want art anymore? Because I don't think, to me, if a computer just sucks in a bunch of things and then synthesizes an image or a song or something like that, that's not real art to me.
No.
Right? So I don't know what this drive for is. Like, people think it's cool, right? Like, it's cool that it can exist, but I don't think it's cool that it should exist at like a wide scale, you know? So
I think
that's where I am with it.
I think, and this could be where we wrap up, I think what is essentially going to start happening is that lack of, honesty, one, in terms of someone not even telling you that it's AI. It's like, no, this is, someone did this. Like, and then the authenticity.
Yeah.
Because I think we want this now of like, I'd rather have someone actually take a photograph or someone actually paint a picture. But what happens when you can't tell, that it's not, it's like it's almost for your own peace of mind that you can be like, okay, there was some soul in this. Someone did this.
Yeah.
There's more feelings to this. But if you can't tell,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And I think that's what's going to be the next step is, where are the laws in place that you have to disclose that this is AI? Because that's not a law right now at all. We know because AI is the buzz, so it almost helps you to say it's AI for it to get more eyes on it.
Right.
But that is going to die down at some point, and it's going to be, this song is out, and it's like, is this actually Destroy Lonely, or is this?
Or is it a computer made it?
So that is where I think we're headed, and I like that you mentioned the art, because the main thing is us knowing that someone did this. Think about, even mention the Weeknd. You're wearing them on your chest right now.
Yeah.
When we didn't know what he looked like.
Yeah.
Or like when I was in Scarborough and he was like singing around, everyone used to always say, that dude who sounds like Michael Jackson. That was like what everyone said. It was either the dude with the hair or he sounds like Michael.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, it's the Weeknd. Imagine you didn't know who's behind it. How do you feel? So it's very scary, but I think that's where we're headed in terms of, there are going to be a lot of AI things coming out that once this wave dies down, they won't be sold to us as, this is an AI picture or this is AI art.
Yeah. So we're on the beat. We'll be following AI music. If there's litigation, I definitely think we should follow that too.
100%.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to Sound Bites. This is, the Album Mode Podcast. Make sure you follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
Make sure you follow us on Twitter.
Yes.
Make sure you follow us on TikTok.
Yes.
At Album Mode Pod. At Album Mode Pod on all of them.
Yep.
The TikTok is growing. The Instagram is growing. So thank everybody for joining us.
TikTok, we love you.
We love you on TikTok. TikTok's legit. TikTok's my favorite platform right now. Favorite social platform, just even on a personal level.
Yeah.
So shout out to people on TikTok commenting, talking to us. We are both in the comments talking to people. Yep. So if you really want to get in touch with us, yell at us, praise us, love us, hate us, we're in the comments.
Yeah, tell us how you feel.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for tuning in, and make sure you know yourself and know your worth.
Later days.